Alright, guys, we are back for another Dokkan battle video. So we have some news here for Global Dokkan. There's actually, a fair amount coming, and some of it is good stuff. This might be, probably like the most hype thing, or the thing people will enjoy the most, probably until Saiyan Day. Probably. It would depend. I do think LR, Broly, and Trunks, people are going to love them when they come out on Global. They're a fun unit for sure, especially free-to-play LR from Quest Mode. I think that they'll be very exciting for players, but I don't know. On JP, it was, 4 months after the SSR that the LR came out. I don't know if it's going to be like that on Global. My best guess is that Global might have LR, Broly, and Trunks somewhere around Saiyan Day, but, that would be hyper-accelerating the timeline. We'll see. We will see, right? Okay. So we have this new stage of the challenge event coming. This is the Omega Shenron fight. This is the second hardest fight in the game. It's funny. I see so many people downplay this fight, and I just feel like, no offense, but they just have no idea what they're talking about. Like, they just don't. I do think that some of the Dismal Future Red Zone fights, especially, are very difficult. Goku Black and Zamasu. If you want to argue them, I could see it a little bit. Maybe Goku Black's damage is so high. In Zamasu has a 0 cooldown for a super attack, which is very devastating. All the toughest bosses in the game have 0 cooldowns, besides, I guess, Goku Black. Maybe the God Immortal event Trunks, right? But those 0 cooldown super attacks are just like, bosses have that are just killers, man. It could be very tough, very challenging. But the thing is that with Omega, it's just like Fusion Zamasu in that you're not super safe in a lot of these spots because of his AoEs. I really feel like there's a huge kind of like underestimation of this Omega fight, and in particular, it's the second phase, STR Omega. This guy supers, and both the first two phases are 0 super cooldown. So basically what that means is it's very uncommon for them to go a turn without supering, and you will see them super all over the place. STR Omega in particular, he supers and his normals damage goes way up. He has AoEs. This guy's got AoEs. Like, this is a threatening fight. I don't know why people downplay it. I guess because you could build characters up, but, like, that shit doesn't even matter that much. It's very easy to build up, like, AJL Carnival Goku. Oh, he builds up, man. He's stacking. He's building up that defense. And then in Omega can just one-shot kill him at the end. Like, this is a tough fight. This is definitely a challenge for sure, especially the missions. I'm not sure. Are there characters that will be easier for this, for Global, now that this has been so many months? The final trump card, no item run against this guy, was very challenging when this first came out on Global. This character was getting just destroyed. It was very tough. Yeah, these guys will help out significantly. Oh, wow. Fusion Zamasu probably would as well. Oh my god, them, yeah. They could be pretty exceptional here. So there are some powerful new LRs added to this since JP got those missions for sure. And then there's also the full power mission. Of course, you could take advantage of Orange Piccolo, so that's always going to be really good. Remember that this is the fight for Super Saiyan 4 Goku. It is his playground. He, completely dominates it. I would say with ease, for free, LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku is probably the best character for this fight. Maybe LR Bulma 2 is probably what I would say. But yeah, this is a fun fight. This is probably the most fun of, kind of like the top, 7 or 8 toughest fights or whatever. This is the most fun of all those fights. So that is for damn sure. So that coming is really good, right? This is like fun content coming. So alongside of this, there's also a burst mode coming. I thought that this one was actually rather enjoyable as well. This is for the STR Omega Shenron Dokkan event stage is what it is for. There's also these 3 get an easy A. And then there's also LR Baby. So, and then of course, Global Dokkan did tweet LR Omega. And then of course there are his animations. I guess I could pull up his banner, but the thing about LR Omega's banner is it's very difficult. Like, are they gonna change his banner up? Like, AGL, LR Carnival Goku, and Carnival Kid Gohan and stuff like that, like, are we gonna see them pop up? Like, it's very tough to just make a great guess towards what's going to happen with Omega's banner. Keep in mind that it is a Carnival banner. Omega Shenron, of course, is a Carnival LR. So, all right, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of things here. So, again, Omega himself, I would say is really, okay, on the GT Bosses team, I think Omega is very good. He does not do damage. He hits like a feather until he revives. He does not do damage whatsoever. And it's really, I mean, it is really pretty crappy design. Like, this is bad. This is not, like, suitable for the current meta where, look at this. Bro, like, that's too much. And it's like, he has to do, what is this? 5, 6, 7, 8 attacks. He has to do 8 attacks to fully build up. He doesn't have additionals built in. He gets one if you revive, but it's not like reviving is just free, right? It's if HP is under 50% or less at the start of the character's attacking turn. So you could say, oh, well, he has the same revive condition essentially as the 8th anniversary LR. You could do that with him. Well, not really, because, I mean, are you taking GT bosses into Fusion Omega or Fusion Zamasu? Like, it's just instant death, instant death, instant death, instant death. Like, there's not, like, you're not competing with GT bosses. The team is not good enough. I mean, outside of a nigh perfect RNG run, and presumably a run where most of these characters have full dodge builds as well, you're not beating Fusion Zamasu with GT bosses. I would like to see, I do think that these supports are good, but I mean, it's still a couple of days until he's actually going to drop this Rildo, so we'll see what it's going to look like when this guy actually comes out. I do think he's actually going to be a GT bosses buff, but again, he's still a few days out. So Omega on GT bosses, he himself will look good because the Rainbow Orb changing and the defensive ability that he has is much more important than any kind of offensive thing. But the problem is, GT bosses does not have Piccolo Jr. on it. You don't have the 8th anniversary LRs or the 5th anniversary Blue Fusions or one of these characters who will just take millions of HP off the boss every single turn, right? Huge crits and additionals and all these things. GT bosses does not have that. So it's like, it's up to Omega to do everything, and Omega can't really do everything. That's kind of the issue. So it's like, by doing this, I mean, they essentially killed this character. If this was Extreme Class instead, he would be a great option for pretty much any villain team because, the revives, you must respect revives. They're just so important with how dirty they can design some of these bosses. But, I mean, look at this. Dude, GT bosses. It's crazy. So I don't know. This guy is like unrankable. Like it's very tough. There is a fight that he crushes. He kills, by the way, and it's Vegito Blue in the Gods Immortal event. Like, this guy is the best character probably in the game for that fight. I think so. Like, for sure. But I mean, if you're a global player, that's a 6 months old fight, right? Like on JP for us. Like, this guy comes out, and then that Vegito Blue fight comes out, a month and a half later, and it's like, okay, here's at least something Omega can do. I mean, you guys, that's the thing. Like, you pull your Omega, and then you go take him into that Vegito Blue fight, I guess. But that's the thing. So, okay, let me also piggyback off of that. If debuffing is on the table, I mean, Omega, no character's going to be better than Omega, right? Like, he's got just that right there. He's sealing, lowering, he's attack lowering, he's got high chance to stun, and then his active as well, where he could have a huge debuff, attack break, and stuff like that. If debuffing the boss is on the table, this guy's right up there. But, I mean, it's very difficult to make a boss, like, actually a very hard fight and allow them to be debuffed. It's super tough. And, like, look at how toxic they had to make that Vegito Blue boss in order to make it kind of a competitive fight. Like, he is actually the most ridiculous, but again, the thing with him is that you could debuff him. So it's like they can make him like absolutely super ridiculous. I just want to pull up his stats in particular because he is, again, very dirty. This guy right here. So it's like, I mean, he's doing basically 700k normals, turn 1, slot 1. He attacks 10 times per turn. He gets attack when he supers, by the way. And he could double super, and he could double super rather quickly, too, right? Like, this is ridiculous. There isn't a boss stronger than this guy, but you can debuff him. And once you start debuffing him, then he's not as scary as some of the other bosses, right? If you could not debuff him, I mean, this would be the toughest fight, right? Like, he just hits too hard, too much, all over the place. Like this would be true toxicity. Like, they went, like, the damage he get, dude, his normals after, like, it's crazy. But you could debuff him, right? That's kind of the thing. So there's that. LR Grade 8 Baby, I think, is a very solid EZA. We've had many just, like, solid Yellow Coin LR EZAs this year. Baby is one of those. If you're going up against a Saiyan, he could really do a lot of damage. He's got some dodge built in. One other thing about GT bosses is it is very low on kind of, like, special mechanics, right? So, you know, giant transformations, like revives, you know, multiple turn support, things like that. Omega's got a revive, and then Baby does have your giant transformation, but that's essentially it for kind of like your tech, or, you know, like the kind of like the extra special abilities you could have. Baby is solid, but I mean, considering, like, for GT bosses, like, he would have needed to be more, but Baby is on a lot of teams. Like, I like this Baby. I think he's a solid EZA. You can get value out of him, and again, Grade 8 transformations, I mean, these win you fights. This is a fight-winning mechanic right here. Transforming to Grade 8, keeping the boss from doing their AoEs or their bullshit super attacks and stuff like that. So, Baby is a good EZA, for sure. There's that. Then these three, I mean, I think that these three, they're all just mid as hell. You know, very low stats, not great mechanics. I mean, these are, like, you know, they're just like sub EZA characters, even though it's like, I always like trying, I got rid of I did. I'm a silly Billy. I want that back up. The timeline of events, where is it? Right here. Let me pull that back up real fast. Because even though they have their own EZA, like, it's still, like, they're still, like, sub-EZA level power. And it's, like, characters like this. So who's characters that probably will get one of these, but, like, they'll be, like, sub-EZA level power? It would be, like, EGL Super Vegeta, and then that STR Namek Goku, right? They have not EZA'd because they awaken from, what is it? It's the Nimbus medals, I think? The Nimbus medals, I believe. So they haven't gotten an EZA yet. They presumably will get one just like this, but they'll probably be sub-EZA level characters. Even, like, so again, you guys see what I'm trying to say, right? Like, by what we define as sub-EZA, technically these three are not sub-EZAs, right? Sub-EZA would be, like, a character that's EZing from another character's medal, like, EZA event with their medals, right? Like, you go back into the EZA and grind it up. But, like, these characters have, like, that level of power, even with their own their own EZA, right? So they're, you know, maybe you could run one of these guys, like, you run Frieza against, like, Fusion Zamasu, just because he's physical, to maybe try and, like, mitigate some of the damage from Fusion Zamasu's AoE or some shit like that, but, like, that's it. Like these characters were not made good enough, right? Unfortunately, with how tough the bosses are nowadays, I mean, you gotta be really crazy, right? Or you either have to be really crazy, or you have to be living under really busted character shadow, right? Like, you know, Orange Piccolo. Orange Piccolo exists, and everyone tries to use him as an argument for why other characters are good. But it's Orange Piccolo is what we're talking about, right? Not, you know, not who's Beast Gohan. Yeah, there he is. So there we go. There's what we have coming to Global. You know, this is a decent little, like, part 2 right here. You know, Baby, we have their EZAs, we got the Omega Shenron Burst Mode, we got the Omega Shenron fight. This is going to be a nice fight for people to test out some characters for a little bit, right? I do think that people will be very satisfied with this fight, too, because it is very tough. People are going to learn about STR Omega and how nasty of a bastard he is. But you know, it's definitely not, like, you know, load into the fight and Fusion Zamasu just kills you. It's, instead, you go 8 turns deep into the fight, and then in Omega one-shots you with a super attack. You know, it's a little different, but he could do that. Or you get to STR Omega, and then everyone has told you, oh, Physical Turles is good in here, and then he just wipes you out. Like, yeah, bye. See ya. So, let me know what you guys think of Omega, LR Omega. LR Omega, he is definitely the worst release of 2023. Saddest. You know, like, we needed this guy to be a king, and he's just, unfortunately, a bitch. So, it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch y'all next time.